Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning here at Skyline High School. I hope you had yourself a fantastic weekend. And I'm here today to show you how to build your own 30-minute yoga routine. Woo! Um, well, if you found this video, you probably already found the assignment. So we're at their yoga home site. Click on modules, as we always do. We're currently in week 13. I got to finish building it, but down here in week 13, you will find build your own 30-minute yoga routine. You'll also find this assignment in week 14. And it's probably look a little bit different when I have it posted. Like I'll have the video link, this video link right here. But these are things that you need right here. You're going to need this PowerPoint. This is going to walk us through the lesson. So if you haven't already, let's download it and open it. And then you're also going to need this worksheet to fill in. So download that. And I recommend just taking these and just straight saving them onto your computer right now. And you're also going to want all of our old poses files. The files are right here, but you should already have them in your computer. Here, I'm going to quickly open these. So I've got my the PowerPoint and the Word document. Okay, so I have the PowerPoint here. I have the Word document here. And then if I go into my yoga files, I have them in my yoga lessons, and they've been here all semester long. Those poses 1 through 18. I also need poses 19 through 30. And I'll also need poses 31 through 45. You probably don't have to open up all 3 files right now. But if you want to, you can. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the worksheet on one side, and I'm going to put the PowerPoint on the other side of my worksheet, on the other side of the screen. So I'm going to put the worksheet here, and then on the other side, I'm going to put the PowerPoint that walks us through it, and then shrink this down to about there. 70% is what I normally go when I'm going left side, right side. Just so you know, this, when we're all done, our final product should look like this. And remember, this is a 2-part assignment, but I'm going to run through the entire thing right now. So half of the assignment you're going to do this week. And at any time you can stop. And then next week you'll finish the whole thing up. But let's see, it's about 8:13 at my house right now. My house being school, and we'll see what time it is when I finish. See how long it takes for me to run through this assignment. Though I did write it, so I kind of know what it looks like. All right, here we go. Build our own 30-minute yoga routine. Oh, whoops, whoa, I don't want that, that's too small. Here we go. This is a little bit smaller, isn't it? What just happened? Sorry about this, everybody. All right, here we go. Introduction. This is the video that I'm creating is going to go here. All right, so everybody, so this guide, we're going to build our own 30-minute yoga routine. Over the course of this semester, I've taught you 45 different poses using this 3-mountain concept. If you look at the worksheet, the mountain, this is where the warm-up goes. This is going to be part 2. Then we get into Valley 1. Then we climb up the second mountain and hold poses a little bit longer. And then we get into our second valley down here, holding that balance pose. And then we get into the third mountain, holding poses for 5-10 breaths, a lot longer time. And like I've already mentioned, you have 2 class periods to complete this assignment. 1 period this week, 1 next week. Let's see how long it takes us just to get it done in all one ditty. If you haven't already, you're going to need all these other files open. I've already opened them. We've got the worksheet. and then the three different the files with the different poses. Hey, students, I asked last semester, like I'm in the middle of the routine and I don't remember what camel pose is. That's not a big deal. But you did do the yoga poses project, hopefully. And you can take your picture of camel and just put it into your routine and maybe make it a little bit smaller so it's not dominating the routine. So you can have pictures of yourself doing the poses, reminding you of what those poses are. It'll help with your yoga pose vocabulary. If you don't want to use pictures of yourself, you can always use pictures of other people on the internet. Let's start. All right, open the worksheet. I've done it. Change your name here to your name. My name is Tom Elliott. Enable. Be sure to enable editing first. Oh, and enable content. All right, here we go. 30-minute routine for Tom Elliott. Save a copy. And then, save a copy onto your computer where it is that you normally save it. I recommend saving these into your yoga file, yoga folder. Okay. Part one, my goal. So everybody's body is different. So everybody has a different yoga goal. Why are you, what do you want to improve by doing a 30-minute yoga routine? And it's a very personalized decision, and everyone's going to be a little bit different. These are some different parts of your body that you can work on. Typically, people want to strengthen a part of their body or make a part of their body more flexible. If you did this assignment last semester, try to come up with a different goal this time so that you can have a different type of routine. It'll be kind of boring if you just come up with the exact same routine. Anyway, I'm dealing with shoulder issues right now. And I want to work on that this semester. So I think making my shoulders more flexible would help with some of the shoulder issues I have. So so I want to stretch my shoulders. And everybody needs to have a goal. If you don't have a goal, it's going to be tricky to work this assignment the way that I wrote it. But if you'd like to have a second goal, second goals are good too. Now, I always like to mix it up. Shoulders is an upper body thing. So my secondary goal, I'd like to be a lower body. And let's see, I definitely don't need to make anything stronger. So I'm just going to go with this discontinued stretching stuff. Stretch my hamstrings, which is your hamstrings, the back of your thighs. My hamstrings are extremely tight. One thing to note is that if you choose core, core is both abdominals and obliques. So if you're looking to work on your abdominals or your core, you need both abdominals and obliques for that. All right, so I have a goal. What's the next slide say? All right, so I've already mentioned this stuff. You need to have a primary goal. If you want a secondary goal, you can. And then here's some examples of, like I already mentioned. First half of your goal is whether you want to strengthen or stretch. I chose stretch in mine. And then the second half is what you want to strengthen or stretch. So in my case, I'm going to try to stretch my shoulders in both cases, but you can do anything. Strengthen my core, strengthen my ankles, anything. This one more friendly reminder, if you choose strengthen my core, that is abs and obliques. So that's something you should just remember as you're working through this. So write your goals in your worksheet, then move on to part 2. So part 2 is our warm-up. And I'm trying to make this as straightforward as possible. Have you seen in the different routines, sometimes we start on the mat, sometimes we start standing. And I feel this is completely a personal preference on how you're feeling that day. Sometimes you feel like standing, sometimes you feel like you're on the mat. But for this purpose of this routine, I'd like for you to pick something and just stick with it. If you prefer standing at the beginning of a yoga routine, choose this one. If you prefer staying on the mat, choose this one. If you did this assignment last semester, I would recommend doing the opposite of what you did last semester, but it's your choice. And in fact, last semester I did do a standing, so I'm going to do this one on the mat. So I'm going to go with the child's pose, and then cat-cow, then a little bit of spinal balance. Excellent. Okay, now, these don't have to be the only warm-up poses you have. Are there other, these were all poses that we learned along the way that were all considered warm-up poses, and any of them that you really like to do, you could put into your warm-up. I personally really like doing a nice long downward facing dog, and seeing as I'm already on the mat, I think I'm gonna take this downward facing dog and add it to my warm-up. And then after that, you do a sun salutation after the warm-up. So after doing downward facing dog, I could go from there and then just work my way to standing back to mountain pose, and I'd be ready. So, all right, that is my warm-up. Nothing fancy. All right, now sun salutation. So after the warm-up, we do our sun salutation. That's one movement, one breath. It's the series of poses we put all together. I taught you 3 different kinds of sun salutations, and the next 3 pages have those 3 varieties of sun salutations. What I'd like for you to do is look through those 3, pick your favorite one, and just simply copy paste it straight into your worksheet. If you have a sun salutation you prefer to do, feel free to put that one in. And then also don't forget to include how many repetitions you plan on doing. If you put 2, that means you're going to have to probably go through your sun salutation a total of 4 times. Like 1 time with your left foot forward, 1 time with your right foot forward, then repeat. Because if you look at the sun salutations, it starts at mountain pose and it ends at mountain pose. So this time you're bringing your left leg back into lunge, and then the next time through you bring your right leg back into lunge. So you have to, every time for every repetition, you really have to do it twice. Just food for thought. So, all right, anyway, this is just kind of like the good old standard sun salutation. This one is the modified if instead of doing like push-up type stuff, you want to do more kneeling push-up stuff on your knees. And it's your choice. That's the modified sun salutation. This was the Ashtanga sun salutation, and this is the one that I really prefer. So I'm gonna pick this one, and I would pick this one every time because that's the sun salutation I like to do. So I'm gonna post my sun salutation here. Note, like I don't need this paste sun salutations here, so I'm just gonna delete it. Paste. All right, and I have my sun salutations here. Okay, there we go. There's my sun salutation. Oh, number of repetitions. I'm gonna right now start with 3. So that would be going, let's see. Yeah, just go to mountain pose once. So it'd be going through this really a total of 6 times. 1 time, you know what? We'll figure it out when we're working the routine. Let's move into the next part. Part 4, Mountain 2. Okay, this is really the kind of the research part of the project. So we need to pick poses to do that are based off of our goals. And if just a friendly reminder, our goals are to stretch the shoulders and the hamstrings. I have a bad memory, so even though this is my body and my goal, I forget the key words. And by writing it down, it'll be easier for me to do this later on. Just something I learned is about myself. Okay, so to do this, I need to open up the Mountain 2 and Valley 2 poses. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here goes. Oh, wait, that's Mountain 3 poses. I want the Mountain 2 poses. Okay, and then this is what we're going to do. I'm going to look through the Mountain 2 poses. Each pose has a list of body parts that it stretches and strengthens. Find the poses that align with your goals, add to your routine, separate your list into, I have standing poses here and poses on the mat here. So as I run along these poses, it'll just let me know which ones are standing and which ones are on the mat to kind of help the flow of the routine. Help the flow. And if we look at the Mountain 2 poses, these are poses that we're holding for 3 to 5 breaths, strengthens, stretches, and because I'm just stretching here, I'm just going to be looking at the stretching category, and I'm looking for any pose that stretches the shoulders or stretches the hamstrings, and you'd be looking for your own goal. So you search for your body parts you search for the poses that help your body, and I'm going to search for the poses that help my body after I get a tasty sip of water. Wonderful. Okay. And then also, just to make the whole thing easier, I'm going to put this one on the right screen, and then left side of the screen, I'm going to put these poses so I can just type them in, go boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Lateral flexion does not stretch shoulders or hamstrings. Next pose, chest expansion, shoulders. Excellent. I'm adding it. So standing pose right here. Hamstrings. All right, next pose. Wait. Sorry. Chest expansion. You put the name of the pose, not the name of the body part. That's silly. Chest expansion. All right, sorry about that, everybody. Shoulders, hamstrings. Shoulders, hamstrings. Nope. Shoulders, hamstrings. Nope. Side note, kneeling side plank and side plank are the only 2 poses that are on the mat. So something to think about. Warrior 2, nope. Reverse warrior, nope. Triangle, all right. Now, as you're going to see in a couple minutes, I'm actually not going to put triangle here, but just work with me. All right, hamstring, shoulders, nope. Hamstrings, standing straddle splits. Shoulders, hamstrings, pyramid. Shoulders, hamstrings, balancing half moon. And I think that's actually the end of them. Yeah, so that's it. Those are all the poses that help out the shoulders. All right, so let's get back into that PowerPoint now. All right, so I've separated my list into standing poses and poses on the mat. And then just for your reference, these are the standing poses that we learned as Mountain 2 poses, and these were the kneeling mats. I just went through these. If my goal were to strengthen my shoulders, these are the poses that I would pick. But like I said, I already showed you that using my own goals. All right, next slide. All right, now the Warrior Series. Some people love Warrior Series and some people hate Warrior Series. This guy here, he loves Warrior Series. I just like the way the poses feel on my body and on my shoulders. And I just like it. But I've also met a lot of people that don't like Warrior Series. So you don't have to include it if you don't want to. Main reasons: you simply like Warrior Series. Or maybe when you were building all of these poses that came from the second mountain, maybe you already have a bunch of Warrior Series poses in there. So it simply makes sense to do a Warrior Series because it's really going to help out with your goals. I think if you go back and look at this slide when I did this, like when my goal was to strengthen my shoulders, Warrior 2, reverse warrior, side angle. All three of these poses are all part of a Warrior Series. So it makes sense to do a Warrior Series. When you look at mine here, the only really Warrior Series pose is triangle. So maybe with my routine, it doesn't really make sense to do a Warrior Series, but I like Warrior Series, so I am going to include it. The next slide has a bunch of examples of Warrior Series. Feel free to include one if you want, and if you don't, just simply delete it out of your routine. I wonder which one Elliot's going to pick. I bet Elliot would like to do the Elliot preferred version of a Warrior Series. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. All right. Note, I did not do any poses on the mat. So I'm going to get rid of it. And if you don't do it, if there's something you don't include in your routine, a section, just get rid of it. You don't need it. If you have any questions along the way of working through this, just email me those questions. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. All right, part 5, half series. Now, anytime you find yourself either in child's pose or downward facing dog, you have the option of doing a quick half series or kneeling half series. Someone just walked by. I don't know who that was. So it's just a dynamic flow of poses. So I find myself in downward facing dog. And instead of spending like 10, 15 seconds resting in downward facing dog, I could do a plank, a crocodile, upward facing dog, and head back to the top. Or I could do, if I find myself in child's pose, I could do child's pose, kneeling plank, kneeling crocodile, or cobra. And you could actually, you could be in child's pose and then do a regular half series too. It doesn't have to be back and forth. So I personally like doing half series. So I'm going to add a half series, and I like doing the standard. So copy here, go into my half series, paste it. So anytime I find myself in child's pose, I can do a quick half series. And when would I do that? I could actually do it a lot here in Mountain 3 when I'm doing these child's pose poses. I'll talk about it when I get there. But yeah, I personally like doing half series. Anytime I get to child's pose or downward facing dog, just do a quick half series. It's also called a yoga push-up half series. All right. So you can do half series anytime, downward dog or child's pose. Does it interest you? If it doesn't interest you, if it does interest you, do what I just did. If it doesn't interest you, you can just delete all of part 5. Just get rid of the entire thing. And then also, I don't need these instructions anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of that. All right. Good idea to save your routine along the way. Save. Part 6, Valley 2. Okay, so I taught you 6 different balance poses along the way. Tree, standing pigeon, eagle dancer, standing big toe hold, bird of paradise. I left one out, either dancer or eagle or something. This is also found in the mountain 2 poses. These in the balancing poses. Take a look at them. Just remind yourself of what they are. Pick your favorite 1 or 2 and add it into your routine. I personally am always partial at this stage of my life to standing balance pigeon. So into my routine, I would put standing balance pigeon. Okay, number of breaths per leg. All right, balance pose. You can pick more than one if you like. If your goal was to strengthen ankles or make your ankles more flexible, balance poses are really good for. It's really good for strengthening ankles, but strengthening your ankles can also help with the flexibility too. Because if you have a stronger, if your ankle's stronger, you're just less likely to get injured. And it will become more, make it more flexible too. It helps, it's balance, you know. Anyway, if ankles are part of your goal, I really recommend doing 2 or 3 balance poses. All right, now, how many, as you work through a yoga routine, you notice I'm not talking about time, I'm talking about number of breaths. This is all, we're going to try to get this to add up to 30 minutes at the end, but you're counting breaths. And when you get to that balance pose, how many breaths are you going to hold that for? So this is what we're going to do. Whichever balance pose you picked here, you're going to do that balance pose right now for 60 seconds, counting how many breaths it took. You can, this is what we'll do. We'll do it together. Let me get the internet on the screen and let's do a stopwatch. Okay, so let's get into our balance routine or balance pose. And once you're in your balance pose, we'll hit start. Okay, so let's see. Standing balance pigeon. I go into chair. I take my leg. I put it over the other one. I go into prayer position and I hit start. So 3, 2, 1, and then remember, we're counting our breaths. All right. So how many breaths was that for you? For me, Ellie breathes really slow when he's in a good balance pose. I did 6 breaths. 6 breaths, everybody. 6 breaths. So if we go back to the PowerPoint, it took me 6 breaths to get through 60 seconds of that pose. And I actually don't like to hold it for just 30 seconds, but I think a minute for me is a long time to hold it. I really like to hold it for more like 40 to 50, 45 seconds. So I'm going to go 4 breaths per leg because for me, 4 breaths per leg lasts about 40 seconds. So I could do 4, maybe 5 if I'm really feeling good. So you know what? I'm going to say 4 to 5 breaths per leg. Excellent. Good job, Elliot. Let's move on to part 7. Now, remember what you did in mountain 2? You're doing the exact same thing here in mountain 3. We're going to open up the mountain 3 poses. We're going to look through the mountain 3 poses, figure out which one it helps with your personal routine. Now, one thing to remember in mountain 3, all of the mountain 3 poses are done on the mat. They take 5 to 10 seconds. And first, you go into child's pose, and you do a bunch of poses in and out of child's pose. Every time you get into child's pose, you can do a half series if you want. Then after child's pose, we transfer into staff pose, do poses that you can do in staff pose. Then we go into knees to chest and do poses that you can do out of knees to chest. Anyway, to make this easy on me, I'm going to go on the right screen. I'm going to have my worksheet, and on the left screen, I'm going to have these poses. And a friendly reminder, Elliot is trying to stretch his shoulders and hamstrings. So locust, no. Bow does work, does stretch the shoulders. And let's see, what about this one? No, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm only going to include bow here. So it's bow of these 3 poses. Bow's the only one that appears to stretch my shoulders. So from child's pose, the only one I'm going to do is bow pose. Okay. Then I'm going to go into staff pose. And let's see, seated forward. That one stretches my hamstrings. So seated. I actually, between the two, I prefer to do a little bit of splits action instead of feet together. So I'm going to do seated straddle splits. And I notice I don't actually want this to be bolded. I'm going to unbold that. All right, cradle the baby. No. No. Shoulders, hamstrings. Hamstrings, seated spinal twist. Incline plank or tabletop. Let's see. I don't want to do them both. I'm gonna try do incline plank. Shoulders, hamstrings. Okay, now moving into knees to chest. No. No. Shoulders, bridge. Hamstrings, legs up the wall. All right, and that was all of the poses. Now, as I was going through this, there were a couple poses that I was like, oh man, I really like that pose. You should always include the poses you like. This is your routine. I really like dead bug. So I'm going to include dead bug. And you should include any poses you like throughout the routine. I mean, if you get there and you're like, oh, I like this one, add it in there. I also like supine spinal twist. So it's just something I forgot about. I don't like bridge that much. Legs up wall. Okay. So now I went through and I included poses that I actually like to do. And then another thing, just from experience, I put bow in here earlier, but you're supposed to do locust first to warm you up for bow. So for some reason you're like me and you have bow, but you don't have locust, go ahead and add locust in there. Use locust to warm your back up for bow. Same thing should be said for camel. If you only have camel in here, this one you really want to be careful of. So if you have camel, I really recommend putting locust, then bow, then camel to warm your back up properly into camel. So, all right, back into the PowerPoint. See, if there are mountain three poses that you really like but don't benefit your goal, feel free to include them. Did I say that in the second mountain pose? I'm sorry, everybody. I just want to check this really quick. No. Yeah, you know, I didn't mention that in part 2, but the same thing applies. This is way back in part 4. If there's poses in here that you really like that got left out, then include them. That was out of this one. Are there any, let's see, are there any that I really like? I do like these guys. I already have those. See, I already have a lot of these in my, yeah, I don't need to add any of these. I like my mountain 2 as it is. All right. Sorry, it's kind of bouncing around now. Back to the mountain 3. Back where was I? Here we go. Feel free to include them. Okay. Here are the poses that I've already gone through. And now, final pose is final relaxation. Many people consider it to be the most difficult pose of all the yoga poses. Add final relaxation to the end of your routine. Nice. And then 2 lines after final relaxation, add namaste, because that's what we always say at the end of yoga class. And you look up Google, it feels like every time I look it up, I find a different meaning. But when I looked it up most recently, namaste is greetings to you. And we say to each other at the beginning and at the end of each yoga practice, but I tend to hear it all the time at the end and not necessarily at the beginning. All right, last thing, let's get this routine cleaned up. It's my routine currently takes up 4 pages, and I don't want this routine to last 4 pages. So here, let's go through and just start cleaning stuff up. In part 1, delete the secondary goal if you didn't have one. I had a secondary goal, so I'm not going to delete it. Part 2, delete, put mountain 1 poses here. I already did that apparently. Part 3, pace sun salutations. I already did that. Part 4, delete, okay, so delete this part. I already deleted the on the mat part. In Warrior Series, delete the put standing Warrior Series stuff. So just cleaning stuff up, getting stuff I don't need. Let's see, next slide. Part 5 is my half series. I had a half series, so I'm keeping it. Delete, put your Valley 2 poses here. In part 7, delete, put poses here. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. And oops, don't get rid of knees to chest. Get rid of that. Delete the words part 1, part 2. Yeah, we don't need these, so get rid of that. That. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we just have these nice headings. All right, format. So it's either 1 or 2 pages. So my routine is currently 3 pages. If it's 2 pages, place the page break so it's not in the middle of one of the 3 mountains. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of start at the top. These 4 poses, there's no need for them to be double spaced. So I'm going to go here, go into the spacing, put it to a single spacing. I'll actually go to page layout, this spacing, sync it down to 0. These poses all together, same thing. There's no need to be any kind of spacing between them. Mountain 2. So I found personally, it works really well to have to have your goal mountain 1 and valley 1 on the first page. And then on the second page, put everything else. These poses can be grouped together. Your warrior series can be grouped together. There's no need for that double space there. Your half series, no need for this spacing. All right, we're getting there, everybody. We're close. All right, I have a problem. No matter what, it looks like I'm stretching over 2 pages. All right, so let's see. Where can I shorten stuff? I put all of this on this page. Oh, I need about 5 more lines. Let's see. Cleaning this up. All right, so let's see. These are all 11 font, but these for some reason are 14. Okay. Let's see. Elliot has too much going on here. Let's see. Let's go to layout. Three more lines to work. All right. Well, it's not pretty, but I can get rid of some of these. I get rid of that. Get rid of that. Ooh, get rid of that one. Hey, it all fit. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it works. Well, I have it onto 2 pages. And I have it onto 2 pages. That's basically, it is what Elliot asked for. So I'm going to save a copy of it. Let's get back to the PowerPoint. All right, so visually compare the routine to Elliot's routine on the cover of this PowerPoint. That was way back on slide 1. If we do that, this is what my original routine looked like. And if you take a look at it, what do you know? It looks a lot like this routine because that's just how it's going to work. There you go. Back to the slide. But yeah, if you find if your routine is not, try to make any kind of adjustments you can to make the routine readable. I can help you out with that if you need it. Then finally, make sure you read the grading rubric in Canvas. Make sure you did what you needed to receive the grade that you want. And if I go all the way back to this, the grading rubric stack down here, and basically, the point of this rubric is to show you that each part is going to be looked at and quickly graded, and then also just that you cleaned it up. So just make sure that you've done everything here. If you'd like more input onto like how I'm going to divvy out these 8 points, feel free to ask. Back to the PowerPoint. We've cleaned up the routine. Congratulations. We just completed our 30-minute writing your routine. Make sure that you get this, at this point, you've completed it. If you've done everything you're supposed to, just save a copy right now. Submit before the due date. And then starting, not this week or the next week, but starting in 2 weeks, once a week, you're going to be practicing this routine in class. So it's important for you to get this assignment done so you can practice it in class. And when we practice it in class, we're going to see how long it takes. The goal is 30 minutes. See how smoothly it goes. Does the flow of the routine feel good? And if it doesn't, how do we move things around? And then make revisions to adjust the time or to make smoother. Just so you know, most students need about 2 revisions before they feel good about their routine. One thing I can say about a revision is to try to remove redundancies. If you look in my Warrior series, I have triangle here, and I also have triangle here in standing poses. You don't need them in both places. So I recommend removing redundancies. I'm going to get rid of this triangle because I don't need it twice. Look, that gives me an extra room of spacing there. Looks even better now. But yeah, that is our personal yoga routine. Let's see what time it is now. It's 8:56. So it took me, I was really going slow, but it took me 43 minutes to do this, which is exactly 1 class period. So if you take twice the amount of time to do this assignment as me, you can get this done during class time, and that would be awesome. So anyway, everybody, have yourselves a fantastic day. And if you have any questions about this assignment, please email them to me. Thank you. Bye-bye.